morning, Hope. What a lovely, comforting spiritual. The idea of stealing away, escaping life's troubles for a private moment with Jesus is beyond beautiful. This classic American Negro spiritual, as they were called, was written by Wallace Willis, a slave, sometime before 1862. Alexander Reed, a minister, heard Willis singing it, transcribed the words and melody, and sent the music to the Jubilee Singers of Fisk University in Nashville, Tennessee, a school for freed slaves. A choir was formed to tour the country and later the world to raise money for the school to keep it from being closed. It is believed that songs like that one, and Wade in the Water, Follow the Drinking Gourd, Go Down Moses, Now Let Me Fly, O Canaan, Sweet Canaan, and other Negro spirituals had many possible double meanings for the slaves who sang them. Though this belief can't be 100% verified, for many of the songs that may have had those double meanings, we do know that when interviewed for her biography, Harriet Tubman said that she used at least two Negro spirituals, Swing Low, Sweet Chariot, her favorite song, and Wade in the Water, to let escaping slaves know, known as her passengers, whether it was safe or not to come out of hiding as they traveled on the Underground Railroad. Nat Turner, the slave from Virginia who led the most famous slave uprising, used Steal Away to alert other slaves to meetings for the planned uprising. Beyond the words of these two memorable figures, and because there is no absolute written proof of those songs containing secret codes, some scholars are skeptical of their origins, but the majority of scholars accept this theory wholeheartedly. Of course, not all spirituals contain coded messages, and not all coded messages and spirituals were used in the Underground Railroad. The Negro spiritual primarily soothed the soul of the slave, giving comfort and hope. Let's consider the lyrics of a few of these exquisitely beautiful songs. Steal away, steal away, steal away home. I want to cross over into Canaan, sometimes sung as into campground. Appears on the surface to only be the words of the Israelites, but as a message song, Canaan was Canada. It has been said that simply humming the melody of the song prompted actions from those that recognized its meaning. It says, my Lord, he calls me by the thunder. The trumpet sounds within my soul. I ain't got long to stay here. It goes on to say, green trees are bending, which could be changed to signify a meeting place. Words could be substituted, split tree instead of green, for example, to indicate the meeting place. While the enslaved worker was singing Steal Away, he could have been singing about a longing for heaven, but also he could have been providing a signal for a secret meeting or singing of escape from the plantation altogether. Those listening that were not privy to these multiple meanings, the slave owners and the overseers, largely ignored the singing, thinking that the songs were about longing for heaven. Didn't my Lord deliver Daniel? Asked the question, why not every man? Although this is outwardly just another Bible story, the song's creator expressed the hope and desire that God would send a deliverer to cause slave owners to let the people go. This song has been referred to as the battle cry of the underdog. The song Keep Your Lamps says, keep your lamps trimmed and burning. The time is drawing nigh. Children, don't get weary till your work is done. Christian journey soon to be over. The time is drawing nigh. Keep your lamps trimmed and burning. The time is drawing nigh. To some, this meant the expectation of a speedy summons to heaven, but to others it meant a speedy pilgrimage toward a free state and deliverance from all the evils and dangers of slavery. And every time I feel the Spirit, a striking musical and a poetic example of the belief and steadfast faith of the slave also may have had a double meaning. The song says, "Every time I feel the Spirit moving in my heart, I will pray." It goes on to say, "Looked all around me, it looked so fine, till I asked my Lord if all was mine." Jordan River is chilly and cold. It chills the body, but not the soul. There ain't but one train upon this track. It runs to heaven and runs right back. The Jordan River represented other bodies of water. The Jordan River, located in the Middle East, would not be nearly as chilly and cold as the Ohio River, a notorious crossing point to the Free States. The reference to the train is key. John Lovell, in his monumental book, Black Song, The Forge and the Flame, says songs about trains are a minor miracle. The railroad train did not come into America until the late 1820s. It did not reach the slave country to any great extent until the 1830s and 1840s. Even the opportunity for a slave to see or examine a train was nearly impossible. Yet before 1860, many spiritual songs employed the word train. The image of the train running on the track to heaven would have been very exciting. Follow the Drinking Gourd appears to only speak of a hollow gourd that slaves used to collect water. However, in the song, gourd was believed by many to be a code name for the Big Dipper. And so this song was known as a map song, giving directions to freedom. This song mentions the beginning of spring, which was the best time to set out for the long journey north. By following the line of the Dipper to the North Star, travelers had a guide in the night sky that pointed them toward freedom. Legend has it that Wade in the Water, used by Harriet Tubman and others to tell fugitive slaves how to evade pursuit and avoid capture. If the escaping slaves thought they were being followed, wading in the water would conceal them and throw bloodhounds off their scent. If a slave heard this song in the field, he or she knew that it was time to prepare for escape. The song speaks of a band of angels coming after me, referring to the conductors of the Underground Railroad. The sweet chariot, who would soon come south, swing low. Guide the slave north to freedom, carry me home. The song says, "I looked over Jordan, and what did I see? A band of angels coming after me." In this song, "I looked over Jordan" meant I looked over the Mississippi or the Ohio River. The band of angels were workers on the Underground Railroad. "If you get there before I do, tell all my friends I'm coming too." And if I have escaped friends or family, please tell them of my escape plan. And swing low, of course, meant come into slaveholding states. So there are a number of common themes and words in many of the spirituals. Heaven, Canaan, promised land, gospel feast, mansions, kingdom, I'm at freedom, all meant the northern free states or Canada. Hell and Egypt meant being sold further south, slavery and death. Deliverance could be translated as freedom. Jubilee could be translated as emancipation. Heroic figures like Moses, Daniel, Elijah, the Hebrew children represented the ordinary men and women enslaved on plantations, hoping to be delivered from slavery. Evil figures such as Satan, Pharaoh, and Egyptians translated to slave traders, slave masters, or slave owners. Water, Jordan River, Red Sea, baptism, rain, and fountains translated to the Ohio River most often, the Atlantic Ocean, or any other body of water that posed as a barrier to freedom. Modes of transportation such as chariots, ships, trains, wheels, wings, shoes, walking, running, flying, and Jacob's ladder translated to methods of movement and escape on the Underground Railroad. Places such as streets of gold, promised land, pearly gates, Jordan River, and of course Canaan were translated as Canada, free states, and escape routes. There are of course more. Frederick Douglass, escaped slave, abolitionist, and author, gave examples of how the songs sung by slaves had multiple meanings. His examples are sometimes quoted to support this claim of coded slave songs. He said, A keen observer might have detected in our repeated singing of Canaan, in sweet Canaan, I am bound for the land of Canaan, as something more than a hope of reaching heaven. We meant to reach the north, and the north was our Canaan. Communication within the plantation community was necessary, not only to plan escape and secret meetings, but probably more so as a means of coping and emotional survival. Music was the vehicle that carried communication from one person to another, from a community of enslaved workers to the neighboring plantations, but most importantly, from the slave to God's ear. The slave owner allowed and encouraged singing, thinking it increased productivity, and proved his belief that slavery really wasn't all that bad. The slave owner, as he sat on his porch, sipping a cool glass of lemonade, thought, see, my doc is out there singing. They's content out there in the cotton patch. The slave, however, thought, oh no, massa, just cause I is singing don't mean I is content. Just cause I isn't running doesn't mean I is content. Just cause I isn't grinding glass into your salt shaker doesn't mean I's content. I wants my freedom. I'm praying to God for my freedom. And one day he's going to give us our freedom. One day he's going to say, tell, O Pharaoh, let my people go.